From Harold Washington to Harold's Chicken and everything in between and beyond, SoCHiology is the exploration of Chicago culture, history, legends, stories, and fiction through a myriad of discussions with Chicagoans themselves. What's up, everybody? It's Twiz Taylor back again with another episode of SoCHiology. This is episode 55. Now, in the previous episode, we talked about how the origins of March Madness is right here in Illinois. The college basketball season is officially over now, and on the women's side, Dawn Staley made history as the first black head coach, man or woman, to win multiple NCAA championships, when her South Carolina Gamecocks won their second championship in 5 years. On the men's side, Bill Self, a former Illinois head coach, led his Kansas Jayhawks to their second championship in his tenure there, the first one since 2008 when they defeated the Memphis Tigers led by Chicago great Derrick Rose. Now, while we're on the men's side of things, you got to go all the way back to 1976 to find the last undefeated champion that ran the table from start to finish. That was the Indiana Hoosiers, coached by legendary Bob Knight, but led by another Chicagoland and Cook County great, Quinn Buckner, who also led his high school, the Thornridge Falcons, to an undefeated season his senior year. That dude not only had a knack for winning, but he also had a knack for going undefeated as well. But coming back to this college basketball season real quick, regardless of level, D1, D2, D3, JUCO, it does not matter. There's only one team in the entire country that went undefeated and ran the table. That was the NJCAA, that stands for the National Junior College Athletic Association, D2 national champions, the South Suburban College Bulldogs. South Suburban College is located in South Holland, Illinois. It's a suburb of Chicago, just south. And I caught up with head coach John Pigatti for a quick one-on-one to talk about this amazing, magical, wonderful season and what it means to not just only him, his players, but the community as well. Let's see what he had to say.
We just gonna go right into it. Last season, you guys' record was what? 21-6?
20-6, yeah.
20-6.
Yeah,
so 20...
it was cut short from the COVID season. And so we only played 20 regular season games, and then we only had a minimal regional tournament because there was so many teams that had opted out.
Yeah.
So we won 2 teams in the regional tournament, qualified for the national tournament, and then went down to the national tournament, played down there as well. So we're 20-6, and then this year, had special season 33-0.
Yeah, special season 33-0. So yeah, after that last season had ended, this was kind of like the first season of normalcy, right? For like all sports, in a sense. What was like your focus when you came into this season? I mean, obviously, you want to go undefeated, right? You want to go undefeated. No one wants to lose, but it's like you don't really think it'll happen. You just want to do the best you can. You want to execute and you want to win the championship at the end goal. But what was your focus coming into the season, the first season of
well, first of all, focus was we needed to recruit a whole new team because I didn't bring anybody back from last year's team, and guys moved on to other schools, and so the main focus was I was going to do the transfer portal like in the junior college route. So out of the 13 players that we had 11 transfers. And from either a junior college, a 4-year school, a Division I school, and then we had 2 freshmen that had played for us. We actually had 3 freshmen. Okay. One left in the second or third week of the season because it was too hard on him and he didn't want to go to school. And then the other one left, was a transfer student, left during the preseason because that was too hard on them. And both those guys, to be honest with you, Antoine, they both were guys that could have been starters on this team. Wow. So that's how good we probably could have been.
Wow, so could have been better.
So now your focus is the season starts. Those guys are gone. We're not as deep as we had to be. So we really had to try to find out where our strengths and weaknesses were and play to those strengths and weaknesses. And we found out we had a big 3, just like the NBA does, That's the big thing in the NBA now is the big 3. And we had that in the National Player of the Year, DeMarco Minor, Polo, and be a National Player of the Year, 20 points a game. And then Cameron Denotland, who had transferred from another junior college that actually, Antoine, we had played at the national tournament And he killed us. He had like
Wow.
18 in that game too. And then,
Wow.
but they wanted to transfer back closer to home. And he actually, it's a special story for him because in junior college, you were only the national, like the leading vote getter for player of the year in the region is usually the guy that is up for All-American candidacy.
Okay.
Well, after Cameron's, he actually would have been player of the year at the national tournament, but he got in foul trouble in the last game. And so DeMarco Minor actually played great in a stretch there that sort of extended the lead and helped us win the game. Cam still had 20 points in the game, but he actually was the leading point scorer at the national tournament because of his play. He got third team All-American, which is unheard of because normally you don't, in junior college, two guys from the same team don't make All-American candidacy or status. So it was nice for us to have that as well. And then we had a Division I transfer, DeMonte Taylor, who led the country in steals and was like fifth in block shots. And so those big threes sort of really established themselves and really started to play and come along together. And throughout the year, it was, those three sort of bringing the team together, but those three didn't play well together early.
Okay.
And
you
so
got to
really
develop that chemistry.
Yeah, they didn't have it because, but they were transfers, So all three were transferring in. All three thought that they could be the man at the school, and so they had to figure out, okay, somewhere along the line through Christmas break and that type of stuff, that hey, we need to figure this out, and played well together, and they did, and they ended up being the big three, and we could rely on them. And to be honest with you, until the national tournament, those three hadn't played great together throughout the entire season, and we were still undefeated. So that made us more dangerous down at the national tournament. Right. But then they all three had three great games and really produced for us and came along. And actually, the national tournament, Antoine, we won by an average of 21 points throughout the season. We only had one junior college team take us to single digits. We beat everybody else by double digits. So it was a pretty dominating performance by this team. And we're the only team in junior college history in Division II to go undefeated ever in the history.
And not only was you guys the only team to do that, but you're the only team on any level in college basketball this season to go undefeated.
Yeah, and that's, and with all the stuff that we had 7 games canceled due to COVID. So and then we actually made up 4 of those games, didn't play 3 of them because those teams in February wanted to concentrate on their conference season per se. We're an independent, so they would cancel the game a couple of days before we were going to play them. So being on and off with the games and having the guys sort of like, are we playing today? Are we not playing today? Having the uncertainty of what was happening. I give our guys a lot of credit for staying focused.
Absolutely. And, you want to talk about staying focused. I want to backpedal a little bit. So you said that the big three, they didn't really mesh well until like after Christmas break, right? But you guys were still undefeated, so it's like, it's something special about that. And like, the more you win, the more it's a target on your back, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about South Suburban. Just for the sake of example, we'll talk about the 2005 Illinois Fighting Illini, right? They started off the season undefeated, but the pressure kept mounting. Can they run the table? How did you keep the ship focused? The more you guys won.
It's funny because like after the last game, the guys goes, we're so glad we don't ever have to see another highlight clip or a dub clip again, because like we win games by 20, 30 points. And the next day they'd have 50 mistake clips that I would show dub tapes on them. So and saying, you guys really aren't that good. Okay. And so I would, we sort of kept them down to earth throughout the entire season. And it was just a year of every game after that game, how do we become better for the next game? And we sort of just focus on taking game by game, getting better game by game. And that's pretty much how we kept their focus. And they actually bought into it. They learned from their mistakes on film, try not to make it happen again. And actually, they would say in practice, like if we showed film before practice of a kid making a mistake on a rotation and he made the same mistake in practice. It got to the point in February, then March, that they would start saying, "We just showed that clip to you, man. What are you doing?" Like they bought into, understanding how to get better as a team through film.
So it's that simple, really. It's like, how they always say, take it game by game. It's really that simple, and that's what you guys did.
No, it's not that simple. It was simple with this.
It's not easy.
Okay.
Not easy.
It's not these kids, we thought we were holding them out throughout the year. We had to keep them humbled, and we did all the stuff. As a matter of fact, actually, we played them they don't like country music. Kids these days don't, but the Humble and Kind song by Tim McGraw, I had them listen to just to keep them humble. It wasn't an easy process, but it was a daily process and daily grind on me to try to keep them focused on the task at hand.
It's a long season. It's a real long season. And it's like, you guys made it through. I mean, undefeated, what was the feelings that went through your mind? You've been at South Suburban for 16 years, right?
16 years, yes.
16 seasons, 16 years. Your winner percentage is over 80%. You've had multiple players of the year. I think 9 players.
Yeah, we've had in players of the year, we've had 5 out of 10. The last 10 years, we've had 3 straight, which has never happened on any level in college basketball, Division 1, 2, 3, NAI. The same team has not had the same player. And the nice thing is, it's been a different player of the year each year.
Yeah.
And so we've had 3 straight. And we've had, now with Polo, we've had 13 first team All-Americans, and we've had 16 total because we got 2 this year. And so we've had 16 in 16 years, somebody be named to the All-American team.
That's a lot of success, and that's a lot of, sustainability. It's not like you just had, it was just a magical season. Granted, it is magical, but it wasn't just like, this came out of left field. The writing was kind of on the wall, Coach P, because the success that you have accomplished at South Suburban over the years. So with that being said, what was the feelings like when you guys actually got it done? Because it's one thing to go undefeated up to the national championship game, but it's another thing to go undefeated to the national championship game, win the national championship game, finish the season undefeated. It's like all you needed on your resume was a championship. And now you have it, but not only do you have that, you have an undefeated championship. What goes through your mind when you really?
Well, it's just starting to sink in as the last couple of weeks have come through. But like after the game, it was more relief for me, because I was happier for the players wanted to win it for me. Coach, everybody says, well, now, I couldn't win the big one. Well, really, we won 12 regional championships. We dominated this region for 16 years. Yeah. And then we go down to nationals, and we're the only team that has placed in the nationals every year but one. And we actually went from, when I first got here for South Suburban, being last on the list of tournament wins of the national tournament, to having the 3rd most wins ever and the most in the 12 years or 16 years I've been here. So, but it was more of, I was happy for the players because they went through it. They're the ones that had to, my job was to keep them focused through the year and and we really didn't take the stress of having the pressure of, oh God, we're going to have this game. And, we lose this game, that type of thing. We're not undefeated. That wasn't our mentality. Our mentality throughout the year was just getting better every year. So I think once the last game hit, really, when you think about it, the Final Four game is the hardest game to play, because that is the game that you're playing for to get to the national tournament. If you lose it, then you got to play in a 3rd place game that you don't want to play in anyways. And so I think that once we got over that hump, that day, that night after that game, and then the day of the championship game that we played that night, we were a pretty relaxed group. And we just sort of, had our task at hand and went at it. And, I guess that when the season ended, I was more happy for the kids. They wanted to win it for me so bad, but I said it wasn't about me, it was about them. I always tell them it's their team and my program. The team will be different next year. Every team is different every year, but it's still my program. So it's their team. So you do it for your team. And then I was happy for them that they got it. I was happy because it's a lifetime thing. Even guys that don't play, that didn't play a lot for us, they can go and tell their kids, their grandkids, they're going to have a national championship ring. They're going to have all these things that go about it that, hey, I was on the national championship team. And they can make up stories all they want. Yeah, man, I played a ton, even though they never played. You know, they can make up what they want to do with what their stories are to their kids and grandkids, but they have that to be able to give to them. And that's what I was happy about for them.
You know, you not only have you been, your coaching career spans far deeper than South Suburban.
Right.
You know, would you say this is like the mountaintop of your coaching career? You know,
That's a mountaintop of my head coaching career. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, getting, being at Creighton and getting to the NCAA tournament, get to the second round of the NCAA tournament, and being at Akron when we won the MAC East championship, and after taking a team that won 3 games a year before, or like a couple years before that, and building it up, those were some things as well that were really tops for me as well. But as a head coach, yeah, this is the mountain that you can get to at 33-0 and doing it undefeated. But me, I always tell everybody, yeah, we were undefeated, we won the national championship. But what's more impressive to me is how we did it. We did it by beating everybody in double digits. We did it by staying focused. We did it by winning by an average of 21 points at the national tournament for each game. And they were just focused. And I just give the guys a lot of credit for buying into what we wanted, what my program was, and buying into it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, is y'all left no doubt who the best team was in the NJCAA. Y'all left no doubt, you know, with those win margins, those margins of victory, it's undisputed. You know, it's undisputed.
Right.
You know, so what does that mean to not just South Suburban College, but to the Chicagoland area, the South Suburban area of Chicagoland? Like, how does it feel to, you know, bring that championship back home? And like, how does it help, you know, with the perception of junior college basketball? And,
well, I hope that, you know, it brings a positive light to the school. I think it will. I think it will bring positive light to South Suburban College, junior college basketball, as well as our region. Our region had won a national championship a few years ago with Triton, and but hadn't won one before that. So now with us being able to do it, but the way we did it, okay. And really, if you look at South Suburban, we have a 1-building campus. It's a commuter campus. You know, some of our guys that live out of state, they all live. They got a house. They all cram in together and pay rent for it, and you know, so, but it's a 1-building campus. We have 1 bleachers on one side of the court. Okay. Even though we have a nice court, you know, it just brings notoriety to the school that there are positive things happening here, not just with the basketball program, but with the entire athletic department. You know, our women's soccer team this year, they went to the national tournament for the first time ever, and they didn't win the championship. They got an at-large bid. So that just shows, see, the big thing about college basketball or in Division II junior college is that there are no at-large bids. So you have to win your region to go to the national tournament, which even made it more special. But I think it just sheds a light on area junior college basketball, how good it is, the players that we had, the school itself. I hope it shines a light on it and creates interest for enrollment for the school.
Absolutely, Coach. Absolutely. You know, again, this is a huge feat. You know, I definitely congratulate you. I congratulate your staff, your players. Next year, now what? Like, how do you just have tunnel vision and you forget about this year so it doesn't become a distraction for next year? Or is it too early to think about next year? Like, how do you plan to go forward after this?
Well, you know, recruiting is an everyday event, and you've got to recruit every day to, you know, and be on it.
It's a huge selling point. This is a huge selling point that you got now.
Yeah, I know. And so now you have a positive, and we get our rings in 8 weeks. We can take those and show kids, hey, we got a national championship. When they come in the gym, we've already had the national championship, which was a great thing they did for the school. The week after, they had a national championship unveiling of the banner, and had a couple hundred people there for that. Had a big event for that, and GCI was out here as well as other media. So it was nice to do that. And so now when the kids come in the gym to play, they see the national championship banner, but they also see 33-0. And they see how special this place can be. So not just we have a banner that has all the regional championships, and that means one thing, but show how dominant we were. But to have the national championship banner on top of that, as well as the 33-0, it just sort of, gives your school and the recruiting for the place, it puts it in a different light.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I can only imagine the pride and, just the joy it takes to see that, so congratulations to you, Coach, and congratulations to your team once again.
Well, thank you, Antoine. I appreciate it. And, as said, I'm happy for the school. I'm happy for the players. And I think this special season, I hope that more great things are to come for the school itself.
Oh, they absolutely will, especially since you're on that bench. So, they absolutely will.
If you enjoyed this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on right now, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, etc., leave a 5-star review and a comment. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to our sister podcast, Mogul Motivation, from True Stories Media.